I said from the start that I was never going to play favourites with any of the kids, especially considering that two of my own boys are playing in the same team. And I'm the coach of that team. But I have to talk about this because my eldest son, who's always been a little bit nervous and gets overwhelmed trying new things, scored his first basket ever in the game on Saturday. It was amazing. He had one chance and he took it and he celebrated so much and he was so happy. And I was so happy. My wife was so happy. We looked at each other and it was just an amazing moment for him because he really, really did his best out there. And I was so proud of him that he went out there and he sort of really focused on trying to do his bit as part of the team, which was just phenomenal. We did end up losing. But this week's game was so much better all round from everybody. The team that we came up against was more or less on the same level as us. There was no real standout player, and they had an early run where they scored a few baskets, and we never quite got that lead back. But I think it ended up 12-7, and a few of the boys scored. Someone scored a foul shot, but overall the performance was just they really seemed to click for a couple of minutes where. The momentum was on our side and they were getting the ball, they were rebounding, they were passing, getting shots off. It was amazing to watch. It was just a complete difference to the week one where we barely got to touch the ball. So I was very happy for the kids. They all played really, really well. So with a squad of 10, it was a bit difficult to keep track of the subs that I wanted to do. So in the first half, I did a 5-on-5 swap, basically. Halfway through the first half, we swapped the 5 that were on the bench for the 5 that were on the court. And in the second half, I tried to do a bit more of a sub 2 on, then sub 3 on, and try and do another 2 and then 3. And kind of lost track, and it was hard to keep the boys satisfied because a few of them were on the bench for a bit longer, and they kept asking to go if they were going to get another chance to go on. And I felt bad. Essentially saying, no, it's not your turn yet kind of thing. But that's probably something I have to get used to. So I tried to make as many subs as I can. It was a bit all over the place. I think now I have to start going in with a bit more of a plan, use my notepad a bit more and keep track of who's had enough time off the bench and which pairings and stuff people have been in already and try and get everyone sort of mixed that they all get a chance to play with each other. 10 is a lot. 10 is a lot. The new kids that came in, I'm not going to use names. I don't know if I mentioned this at the start, but I don't want to, you never know on the internet and I don't want to use real names. So I'm not going to name the kids at all, but we had a new kid start and someone who didn't play the first week come in. They both did really, really well. They were both, even though they'd never played basketball before, were very confident in getting out there and getting the ball and dribbling and passing and doing all those things that I asked of them. And that was great to see. Parents that were watching there, it was so loud. I can't remember the last time I went to like a local basketball match with nothing on the line. It wasn't a final or anything. And they were just so loud. Every time the kids started doing something good, the first couple of minutes, they were all very quiet. But then I think when the kids started showing that they were going to have a really good day, the parents started to get a bit excited. And every time the kids had a shot, everyone was on the edge of their seats. There was yelling and screaming and excitement. It was really good that the parents seemed to enjoy themselves too. So overall, our second game was a huge improvement. I even took the opportunity to, because it's under 8s and the refs are sort of, will let you come on the court and either sort out the team or help out making the subs because the kids don't know where they're going exactly. I took a bit of time to walk across the court as the game was going on to try and help instruct the kids who were maybe a bit lost, like to use some of the things that we worked on in training to get forward and to try and get the ball rather than just sort of hover around half court. They can get involved under the ring kind of thing. And so even helping the kids identify people to pass to in throw-ins and things like that, just standing next to them or behind them and helping them out like that. That on-court sort of coaching, I never really got as a kid. It pretty much was trainings and then games. I don't remember coaches being able to come on the court and talk to the kids the way that I saw last term with my son's other team that he played in. Very eye-opening that a lot has changed and probably for the better. So the director of refereeing or something like that at the stadium that we played a lot of our games at last season was a gentleman a bit older than me, and he would get on the court and either ref the game himself or help out the youngsters that are maybe look a bit nervous out there doing it for the first time. He would go out there and he would instruct the kids literally where to go. Even sometimes the ball would come towards him. He would get the ball and pass it to a kid who hadn't had much of the ball or something like that. Like, he would really get involved. He was showing them where to go. He was stopping the game to instruct them, to tell them, like a foul, why it's a foul and what they can do next time, and to try and clear up any confusion they had. Like, he really got involved in shaping the game and instructing the kids, and it was something I really respected. He knew my son hadn't scored yet, and in the final game he was there and he was sort of coaching him on the court to try and get into a position, and would tell all the other kids to pass him the ball to try and get him to score. It's just little things like that. And I went up to him and talked to him afterwards, and I just told him that I wish we had people like that when I was growing up, to try and coach us and teach us and get us to have fun like that. And it was really, really good. So that kind of energy, those vibes, I'd love to bring as a coach to the kids in my team. And I'm going to try and do that until the referee maybe starts telling me off for coming on the court too much. I'm probably going to get more involved in coaching in the middle of a game. But there was a bit of an interesting point that happened at training today that kind of brought my mood. It kind of made my mood a little bit unsettled, maybe for a lack of a better term. We ended up doing a few drills. I ended up trying to get the kids to mirror one another's movement. So we had 5 and 5. I bought some bibs so there's no confusion. The people with the ball and the people without the ball, and they would pair off. And I was trying to get the people with the ball to try and move it side to side and up and down, and the people who didn't have a bib were to shadow the ball with their hands, kind of thing, like follow the ball up and down and around. Wherever the ball is, move your hands to try and get them to, mimic and defend a little bit. Mainly to get their concentration on, and just to see if they were really like in tune with, okay, so this person has the ball, this is what I have to do to try and stop them. If they started picking that up, and a few kids were really, really good at it. A few kids sort of didn't really understand what was going on. So that was more an exercise for me to see what level they were at with paying attention in that kind of way. But we did a few drills, a few passing drills and things like that. It's kind of not bad having the 10 kids, because I can, like in one of the passing drills, for instance, I split them up into teams of 5 and basically made a zigzag across the court of 5 cones. And I gave them like a competition to outpass each other to, the ball to get to the other end of the line and then back again, and sort of like seeing which team would do it the fastest. And I'd had to mix up the teams because some of the kids were struggling, and just to even it up a little bit. But then we got to the point where we were playing just a little game at the end of training, and I had to join in and, go on one of the teams because one of the kids stepped out and they're uneven. So I jumped in, and I thought it would be a good chance to kind of help out while I'm on the court, show them what to do. So I was going up to the kids and I was putting my hands up in the air. So I'm super tall over them. And while I'm doing that, I'm telling them, you should pass to somebody. And, I'm telling my team, this is hands up in front of them. See, he can't shoot, to try and show them. And a lot of them were picking it up. But the interesting point that happened was one of the kids was like very intent on getting the ball and trying to score. His teammates, he was going to up to them to try and take the ball off them. And then they tried to take the ball off him, his teammates. And he was ignoring them. He wouldn't pass. And I actually went up and defended him. Like, so he couldn't shoot over me. I went up to him and I said, pass, your teammate's open, your teammate's open. And he was like, I want to score. And he was trying to shoot over the top of me. And one of the other kids sort of got upset, and I pulled the training in. It was right at the end. So I was like, that's enough. And I was trying to get the point across to them. I said, this is practice, and I just want to see how well you guys can pass to each other. It doesn't matter who scores. And the kid who was sort of hell-bent on, who was like dedicated to scoring, said that nobody was passing to him. And then another kid sort of snapped back and said, but you didn't pass to me. And the kid that was hell-bent on scoring looked at his teammate, another kid, and said, what are you, deaf, mate? Did you not hear what I said? You don't even pass to me. And the way he said it, it's hard to not picture his parents in a certain way, talking in front of him or at him with that kind of attitude. And so I was a little bit shocked, and my first thought was nip in the bud and say, that's not how we talk to each other. We have to remember that we pass to our teammates and they'll pass back to us, and we're all about sharing the ball and having fun together. It's not one person who gets to do everything kind of thing. And then a few of them are like, I didn't even get to touch the ball. I didn't even get to play. And I said, all right, that's enough. We'll see you guys on Saturday. It's going to be a really good game. We're going to put everything together and we're going to work as a team. Put our hands in, do 1, 2, 3. Wow. But yeah, I was really shocked that that kind of attitude came out of him, and a few of the other kids were upset. But that'll be interesting. I had a few warnings from a few people, like my dad and a few people that I work with, when I told them that I was coaching the kids, and they were like, oh, you got to watch out for some of the parents. Some of the parents will be a little bit, a bit hard to deal with kind of thing. And I haven't had that experience yet. Everyone's been great. Everyone's been very polite and thankful and just really friendly. So we'll see what happens as the season goes on. Hopefully there is nothing weird that happens. But my one worry, I think, is that he might start trouble with other kids during the games, because he does tend to be a bit over-aggressive and physical. Like when obviously trying to get the ball back off someone else, he gets very, you can see it in his face that he gets very aggressive with it, and he's very determined to beat that kid and get the ball, which is kind of like one of those things I said from the start. Kids that want to do their own thing and have that sort of not to beat out any of their instincts to, do whatever they want kind of thing, and just try and guide them a certain way. And this is going to be probably a test of that, I think, to try and let him, express himself in the game, have fun, but also try and make it so, he gets along with the other kids and everyone has a great time together. Other than that, I think the one thing I really need to work on is learning the kids' names. I'm getting there slowly. I probably know half of them off by heart, no problem. A few of the kids I just have to look at and think about for a second, because it hasn't quite sunk in. I'm very bad with names naturally. I'll introduce myself to someone, or someone will introduce themselves to me, and it goes in one ear and out the other. I'm just bad with names. And the other thing, like I said, is just being on top of the substitutions and giving everyone a fair chance to play as many minutes as they can without sitting on the bench for too long at the same time. But also don't want to disrupt the game and make subs every 2 minutes. So I have to come up with a plan and try and keep that in practice. That was one thing that so we have a WhatsApp group with all the parents, and that's one thing I put in my coach's report after every game, is a breakdown of what each kid did great and, what the plan is for the rest of the week. And, after this week's game, I put in there that Coach Mark is going to be dedicated to improving the substitutions so everyone gets a fair go. So that's one thing I really want to work on. And hopefully it all comes together this week. And look, honestly, I just hope that everyone has a good game again this weekend. It was very, I don't want to say rewarding, but it felt very good to see the kids have a good time, and you could see that they were really having fun on the court. And that was very fulfilling, for lack of a better term, very fulfilling to see, and made me really happy that they were really happy. So hopefully there's more of that this week and in the weeks to come. So if you've made it this far in the video, just want to say again, thank you. I'll be doing these weekly. If you are new to the channel, feel free to subscribe so you can see when the next one pops up. And once again, if you have any feedback, advice, tips and tricks that you could give me, leave them down below in the comments. I read every single one and I take it all in. So that's it from me, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.